Good evening and welcome. Tonight we will be going over the history and geography of Canindeyú in Paraguay. Now, like many other departments of Paraguay, not much has happened in this area here. It is mostly farmland. It's been that for as long as I can see in history. So, not much to go over in terms of geography and history, but I did find a very interesting story, kind of a sad story, but interesting nonetheless. But let's start off with its most important geographic feature, the Paraná River, which makes up this border here, with Brazil on just the other side. You can see the capital of the department here, Salto de Guaira, right on the river. Salto de Guaira. And there's a town on the other side in Brazil also called Guaira. Probably pronounced differently though, because I'm sure they pronounce it with a Portuguese accent and not a Spanish one. But this area primarily grows soybeans. Also other various crops, some cereal crops, yerba mate. There's also quite a bit of livestock that's grazed here as well. You can see that it's relatively flat, lots of rivers throughout. That's pretty much history here. Not history, but geography. I did read that there is an issue of crossing over the water here into Brazil and back, trafficking certain substances and dangerous objects, if you know what I mean. But we're not really going to go into too much detail about that. Just know that that's apparently an issue in this town. So, in terms of indigenous culture, I did not find much, but here's what I did find. The name Canindeyú is a Guarani word, which is a name for a macaw, which is really nice, I think. And then this town, Salto, which means waterfall, but Guaira is a Tupi word, which means a place that's hard to get to. So I assume that there's a Guarani and Tupi population here, but I can only assume that based on the fact that things are named like that. This original settlement was built in 1556, but it was abandoned in the 17th century. I didn't see why, but I can imagine that it was just very much like out of the way and probably not that productive in terms of, profit, because it was part of Spain back then. I imagine people just moved on to probably Asuncion, just over there, the capital, I imagine. But as you can see, it's still around. It was reestablished in 1959. I believe mainly just to be a point of contact between Brazil to exchange goods across the Paraná. But here's the sad story that I found. If you know your Spanish, you know Salto means waterfall, and there was indeed a massive waterfall right here. I'm going to throw a picture here of what it looked like. It was one of the biggest waterfalls in the world in terms of volume and how much water was pouring over it constantly. It was a big, beautiful waterfall and was a big tourist draw to the area. However, in the early 1980s, the Itaipu Dam was built. You can see there's Iguazu right there. The Itaipu Dam is just down there, creating this big lake and flooding the Paraná River. And in doing so, it would cover the waterfall entirely. It would be completely underwater, which was, of course, devastating to the people here. There was a big tourist draw, more than ever, to see the waterfall for the last time before it disappeared under the river. And sadly, a bridge that was over the waterfall for observation was so full of people that it collapsed, and many people lost their lives in that event. But that waterfall, since I'm talking about it in the past tense, it no longer exists, very sadly. But there is a big, beautiful Parana, and Iguazu Falls are down there. Itaipu Dam it's right there, actually. I see it now. Itaipu Dam is right there. One of the largest dams in the world. And yeah, there's no Salto in this town named after this waterfall. A little bittersweet, but this dam provides so much energy for this area that, I don't know, is it a positive that the area flooded? I don't know. I suppose so, in the long run, right? Not in the short term that we lost this beautiful geographic feature. But that is pretty much the only real history that I found that occurred in this department. It's all farmland. But yeah, that was about it. So, we're going to go to Google Earth and poke around. But there's not much to look at. I'm mostly just going to show you around. And we'll try to find some slideshows here and there. But it's Paraguay. It's one of those countries on Google Earth that just doesn't really have a lot of exciting slideshows. So we'll see what we can find. Let's hop over to my tablet and check out Canindeyú on Google Earth. Here we are in Canindeyú department. And let's start by zooming out so you can see exactly where we are in the world. Here's Paraguay, landlocked country here in the middle of South America. Bordering Brazil, here's Argentina, borders Bolivia. I think that's it. I think it just borders those three. But yeah, right in the middle here. Just on the edge of the Andes here, and just below the or just above the coastal area is what I meant to say. So, there's not much terribly exciting geography in Paraguay, especially in a department like this. Let's start over here in, it's not even popping up. There it is. Salto del Guaira, the capital and largest city in this department. I don't think the pictures are terribly exciting, but we're still going to look at them. Big buildings there, factory-looking buildings, right? Lots of industry. I love SDJ. G. Yeah. Oh, it's a nice little house. They're very modern. SDG. And yep, there's a ferry, it looks like, I think. Or maybe it looks like a ferry right there. I'm sure going over to Brazil. Big Centuria though. Area there. My goodness, I can't talk. And the colors of Paraguay. Here's the beach along the river. I'm not quite sure this is the kind of water I'd want to swim in. But nevertheless, there's people swimming in it. But yeah, look at them go. Lots of boats out there. You can see the power lines out there along the water. Getting all that energy from the hydroelectric dam, I imagine. Not too far off. It's very pretty, though, of course. And very green. All that river water. Some live music setting up there. Light shows at Christmas time. Lots of light shows at Christmas time. And some nice bike riding with the entire family. With everybody there. There's the playita. There's a little viewpoint here. Let's see what we can see. Looks like a night sky there. And the daytime sky. Some flotsam there. Oh, that's nice. Enjoying some wine. It looks like they were taking pictures in like the last hours of twilight. It's pretty neat. And along the Parana, one of the many mighty rivers of South America. Of course, it doesn't compare to the Amazon River, but close enough. Let's look at this. Nice green area here in town. Big aardvark, aardvark statue. And a big bird statue, big parrot. Maybe a macaw. It looks like there's lots of wildlife in here. That's great. Lots of birds here in the wetland. Various kinds, water birds, and looks like a little osprey there. The meteorological station. Very cool. They got some animals here. Taxidermy animals. So you can see what the capybaras look like. Very neat. So yeah, this was where the waterfalls once were. Now you see it is all river. It is a little sad. But yeah, I guess we've looked at the Itaipu Dam before. There's the big reservoir. Oh goodness, my Google Earth crashed. Holy moly. There we go. The big reservoir that it's created, and there's the dam right there. Itaipu Dam. But we've looked at that before. We're up here today. Uh-oh, did I go too far? I went too far. Alright, so here you can see big old marshy wetlands, definitely from, the river filling up with water from the dam. And all of the farmland here. There is a green spot here. That definitely looks like this was all, cleared for farmland, but they saved this spot, which is always great. Let's take a look. So we can see some waterfalls that are still around. A precarious bridge there over the rushing river. It looks like a waterfall there as well. So yeah, this is what this department looked like once upon a time, right? Like this. All thick and green and forested. Before it was all cleared to make way for farmland. Pretty sunset there. Ooh, look at these twisty branches. Another precarious bridge. I don't know how trustworthy those bridges are. Ooh, is that a termite mound? Looks like it. I wouldn't go near that. So that's nice to see, at least. They have something of what it originally was like. But that's pretty much all that I've got for you in terms of Google Earth. Let me pull the borders back up and maybe we can look at some towns. Look at this town's name. Ivipita. Let's take a look at Ivipita. That's the only picture, and isn't that gorgeous? Why is this town called Ivipita 2000? I guess that's just its neighborhood area because there's 1,500. Interesting. What's that? Canindeyú. It has no pictures. I'm not surprised. We're in very rural Paraguay. Curuguati's kind of a cool name. So they've got a bunch of pictures, but not of much by the looks of it. Mostly flowers and things. But here's their little town square. That's great. Lots of flowers and such. Yeah, I love all the indigenous names around here. These are not Spanish at all. Except then you get Corpus Christi right there. General Francisco Alvarez. But then you get Pacoya. You get Ibirarobana. It's great. It's fun to see. Let's try to find, let's see. Colonel Alvarado has no pictures. What about Corpus Christi? Do you have pictures? One more slideshow would be great. Nope, but they only have pictures of big old trucks. Let's look at this town. That's it. Just a big old open road. I suppose I'll have to end it here. I'm pretty sure that's all there is here. It's just little farming communities. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this style of content, please consider subscribing. I promise there will be a lot to see in Google Earth in the next video because we're going to Turkey. I feel like we're always going to Turkey. Not complaining because I think Turkey's absolutely gorgeous. But my goodness, does Turkey have so many regions? Let's start with A, B, and C. If you don't know, I'm going in alphabetical order around the world. So it feels like we're always going back to Turkey. But again, not complaining. I love talking about Turkey. So be sure to subscribe so you won't miss out. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and let me know all your thoughts down below in the comments. And I would really appreciate that because Paraguay doesn't really get a lot of views on my channel. So commenting really helps out. And if you're watching this video in the first 3 days of its upload, if you're on mobile, you can hype this video. If you go down to the like section, there's a button that's hype, and you can use your hype points to help boost this video. I'd appreciate that. That would help out too. I hope that you found this video to be relaxing and educational, and I hope that you have a good night. Good night.